move on now to the next session. We look to understand how the Chinese startup ecosystem has grown so rapidly, and are there any transferable practices for Southeast Asia? Dr. Yanqing, Managing Director of Yicai Research Institute, will moderate a panel consisting of Calvin Cheng, Managing Director and Head of Technology and Growth Banking Group at East West Bank, Zhou, Managing Partner at CCV Capital, and Chief Executive Officer of Jianpu Technology, David Ye, will join Yanqing and her panel of esteemed speakers in a case study of China's startup ecosystem.
We still have some time for discussion, and I hope it will be a little bit debate. We have touched upon a very good case study in China and also in the United States and also in the SEA region. I would like to touch upon the case study of this micro examples into broader macro landscape. If we look at the global value chain and global technology chain landscape, we will see the very good collaboration and division of labor between China and the United States. United States focusing on the chips, softwares, and the platforms, all these fundamental things, and then China and China startups and other companies and focusing on the application. It's a very perfect interaction and collaboration between China and the United States. How do you guys look at the future of the landscape of the technology ecosystem in globally, especially in China and United States? How will this kind of decoupling or reconnecting play out down the road, given the situation between China, United States, and global new coming in informations? So I would like to hear your insights here.
I think US is going to still be the center of technological innovation, but China, certainly their technology is catching up, and with a huge market, they're going to develop their own model. Eventually, I do see Southeast Asia is a good lubricant for example, for these two big countries, because both countries have large trade flows with SEA, with Asians, and also the supply chain has been changing a little bit, or actually in a large degree, from very China-centric to Southeast Asia. India also gets some lucrative shares of the business. So I think both US and China, they can look into the markets on a global sense, including Southeast Asia, and as a pathway to bring more countries together instead of just focusing on US and China. And so if you have the multilateral relationship throughout the world, especially focus on high growth area, that's the area that we are focusing on today, I think that would certainly smooth out the tension, and that would create more angles, and that would create more interest for both countries. So I think that certainly, hopefully, will solve whatever the tensions right now.
Yeah, multilateralism is always a solution. But if we look at the new audit law, will it lead to a kind of a different ecosystem based on the different financial funds and the different technology platforms, and also even the different standards? How big is the risk is there?
I think the recent the audit law that was passed by the Congress in the US, I think that's nothing new, right? That topic has been been talking about for a while. But that law, according to my understanding, is applying for all foreign companies that are seeking or being listed on US market. So it's a universal standard, and I'm pretty sure different countries, they are catching up on their audit standard, and they will also look into as a market that the law being set over there. So it's sort of a respect, and also it's a global alliances. If you want to be going to public in some markets, And then there are some basic rules you want to follow, and that apply to both ways. So I do think that is a good thing for companies that can achieve higher goals and to become more globalized. So I don't see the micro aspect that would be a risk for companies that are seeking being listed. That would only improve the quality of how the company run, and especially how the company run on their financial sense.
First of all, echo to Kevin's point. After all these details about all the regulations, etc., we need to understand fundamentally now the financial world lack of good asset. Money flowing, looking for good asset, right? But people cannot imagine a financial world today without great asset from China. In past 10 years, the innovative company, the mobile internet company went to IPO, the top 10, top 20 companies, that's 40% globally from China, right? So basically China and the US can kind of like half-half for this kind of a great company emerging. And China GDP now is global number 2, right? Growth rate is still very reasonably high. And most important thing is today, we really have innovation happens here. It's not follow anymore. There's a lot of innovation happens here. And not only happen here, our innovation being copied to Southeast Asia, India, and even US. Zuckerberg's email to his executive already shows that they try to learn from WeChat and some Chinese company for some new initiatives, right? So basically, this is the fundamental. With this understanding of the fundamental, we will understand that decoupling, I don't think it's possible. But in reality, with the current situation, some territory in parts, people never, as a venture capitalist, I will only think about this part, that some territory in parts, people never think about the building startup in China. For example, like a mobile operation system. In parts, iOS is so powerful. Android being free, open source for everybody, right? People can use it free. So nobody will think about, building a startup based on a new mobile operation system. And no investor in China trying to invest in such operation system. But with the current environment, it's possible. It's possible that China have a new operation system emerging for mobile internet. And China is a huge country, has 1.4 billion people. It's not a small country. So basically, the standalone market can support operation system by themselves. And who built this startup for the operation system definitely will be worth like billions of US dollars for sure. So this will be a great asset to invest. And again, money is flowing. I don't think this asset will be investing only by Chinese investors. Global market, global money will be definitely looking for this kind of asset. There's many other examples like this. Go ahead.
In the last 1 or 2 decades, we definitely have seen technology have really have a lot of innovation transformation to provide product and service to consumers, right? That's the 2C components, right? So that's part of the big internet innovation, from e-commerce to fintech, etc., right? But starting from a few years ago, we definitely see we need to build the connection between the C part, consumer or user part, with the business enterprise part. So for example, we as a platform, we position to enable financial institutions, the businesses, to provide the product and services to the consumers. The same happen in other sectors, in like you just mentioned, the manufacturing sector, right? In a lot of the automation, right, etc. So I would say to B or to C. I mean, of course, we started with the consumer part first. That's kind of the 2 wheels in a bicycle, right? I started first, but we need to have a bicycle. We need to have 2 wheels. The back, the wheel in the rear, in the back, actually are the 2B part. But we need the technology, we need AI, we need people understand both the 2C market to be market to make the bicycle run faster, right? You have left leg, right leg, you have to pedal fast. But we all ride bicycle for a long time, right? We know at the end of the day, a safer bicycle, a faster bicycle, actually your real wheel is actually more important. It controls the speed and it controls the risk. So that's why we would say really we have to look at it from the ecosystem standpoint. The businesses, the manufacturer, the providers, the services, right? At the end of the day, they have to create the product service that meets the consumer's needs. You have to push the product service to the right consumer, right? You have to have the touch point. You have to keep innovating. So I guess in the future, there's no such a thing as a 2B or 2C, right? You have to do both. Like this is what Rong 360 or Jianpu Technology we have been doing in the last 9-10 years. The first few years, we are more to see, right? We build a brand, we want to build a brand, we want to connect consumers, we want to start with the consumer first. But now in the last 4 or 5 years, like our Zhou, our AI and big data platform, we are helping our banks to manage the risk model better, processing the data better, build the middle office and back office. And also recently we have been doing some project like how to helping them to reach out to the consumer better, the digital marketing, how to make short videos in TikTok or in Kuaishou that helping banks to educate consumers better in terms of financial awareness and the financial to defend the financial fraud. So I guess you definitely throw out a big question. That's a $1 trillion question for investors that impact billions of people. But my view would be if 10 years later we talk about the same question, it would be 2B or 2C. That's two wheels in the bicycle. We are the driver.
Yeah.
Right. You are forward leaning or backward leaning.
Those are important, right? So back to Zhou Zong, you touch upon the gap between the demand and the supply down the road. And also, do you see this 2B, 2C also relevant here?
Actually, this new wave of investment on 2B sector is because one of the reasons because people realize that now technology is ready to solve the real supply chain problem. In parts, technology not ready yet. Right now, it's ready. Of course, at Chinese standard ready, we can solve some problems. So people think this is a time for investment on 2B side. And also, another thing we need to realize that especially during the COVID time, many last generation, old school entrepreneur in traditional industry, they realize, they rethink the meaning of life. Many of them, I thought in past several months, starting to passing their corporate operation to their next generation. So the next generation now really started to take over the operation of the traditional industry, and their next generation, they have a in-depth understanding of the digitalization. They know the power of digitalization and how to leverage technology. So I think this is another major reason why it's not just like investor want to do this. Entrepreneur now really want to do it to improve their industry, to improve their efficiency, to make sure they will can continue survive for next many years. So many reasons combined together, we think the 2B sector will have a lot of change in past 5 years, in next 5 years. Yes.
Let's talk a little bit on the digital currency and also the financial infrastructure of the future, in which blockchain play a role there, and also RTGS also coexist. So I'm wondering if Calvin and Daqing would like to talk a little bit on the financial infrastructure and digital currency for the future. Calvin, please.
No, before I talk about these digital currencies, and let me go back to the 2B issue just a little bit. I think 2B market, it's a huge market. I mean, if you look at US, there was just a huge acquisition that Salesforce.com acquired Slack, which is an office communication software and collaboration tool for $28 billion USD. So that's a very huge asset for the company, although the company went public already. If you look at the Chinese 2B market. You just look at Jingdong, you just look at Cainiao, look at all these companies that focus on servicing small to mid-sized business. I mean, they has been building the backbone for facilitating the flow for the 2B business. So that's market is certainly there. And I'm also thinking about the ASEAN market, especially it's such a market that has different countries, and you're talking about different borders. We talk about logistics and all that. Certainly the opportunity for serving multinational companies in the ASEAN market is also going to be there. So I'm optimistic about the market. Regarding the digital currency, as a banker, I sort of more looking toward how to improve the cross-border bank like East-West banks to better prepare for the future, like fund transfer, securitization, and other sort of fund-related that can go globally. So blockchain, I think it does have a good future. I think some banks, they have been implementing some projects regarding the blockchain, how the blockchain technology can help the transaction more secured, more in the real time, and more accessible for different players in the transaction to be properly identified and acknowledged. So I think that is going to be there to stay. For digital currency, certainly that's I will sort of defer it to Daqing, to David, for his entrepreneurial view.
Yeah, let's discuss this issue. It's a very important issue from three perspectives. First, from the user side, consumer side. Second, of course, technology, right? The third piece is very important from the regulation, from privacy, from security, from that perspective. Okay, the first part from the consumer, from the user standpoint, right? In this digital age, I would definitely think there is a necessity, there is a strong need in terms of digital currency from a regional perspective at least. So I remember I was traveling in Southeast Asian country a couple of times. I was very frustrated. Like in India, I have to pay 1,000 rupee for a taxi. Then I have a lot of rupees, right? But I went to Indonesia. Oh, gee, a meal cost me 1,000,000 rupiah, right? So I was checking my wallets. I have like at least 5 or 6 currencies. It's just crazy, right? I would definitely think in this. I would definitely think in 10 years, maybe 15 years, at least in the RCEP area, at least in Southeast Asia, Asia Pacific area, we will have a regional digital currency that consumers, businesses, small businesses will be happy to use, right? That's why I think the need is already there.
Sorry, David. By the way, is this digital RMB or digital Asian ultra sovereign currency?
Okay, let me finish the 3 points and I will answer your question.
Sure.
Okay, the second piece, of course, all the technology solutions, the providers are there, right? The DCEP, the digital currency by the People's Bank of China, right? I mean, it's already there. We can roll out any time, if not maybe later. But I think all the technology is there, right? So number one, we solve the user demand problem. Number two, technology there. The third piece, of course, the critical piece, right? I mean, the regulation for each country, right? We need to get Singapore Jingguanju Financial Authority on board, Indonesia and other countries, right? I mean, that's a lot of work to do. So to answer your question directly, is that going to be a renminbi denominated or a regional currency denominated? I would definitely think that doesn't matter. It's less important. But what I want to say, I mean, in this new currency, regardless, it's going to be a renminbi denominated or a regional currency denominated. Number one is digital, right? Number two is the technology powered, it's safe, secure. and it can be used for global cross-border trades, for people's travel, for daily life, or maybe empowered for oil transaction. Number two. Number three, I don't think it's going to be change the status quo of US dollar. However, this is very important. It's going to be have a regional impact. It's going to be there. So I guess it's a trade-off, right? Number one, don't want to change the status quo of US dollar, but they're going to be enter big people or business life in the region. So to summarize, I mentioned earlier, RCEP is 1.0, right? RCFP, the Regional Cooperation of Financial Partnership, that's number two. But RDC, Regional Digital Currency, that's going to be the outcome. That's going to be the innovation of the RCFP. That may take 10 years, maybe 15 years. But I definitely think we'll see that. We'll use that in 10 or 20, 10, 15 years. So that's just my personal take. Yeah.
Very interesting. Very quickly, if RMB denominated or the Asian currency denominated is not important, but does stable coin or central bank digital currency, these two type of the designation important here?
Of course, I'm thinking more from the consumer or technology or business standpoint. That's why I think it's less important. It could be a portfolio of currencies, right? With Chinese renminbi, Japanese yen, or Singapore dollar, or etc. That could be a base for the digital currency, or could be have some like a digital other like Bitcoin, or Bitcoin could be part of that portfolio as well. I guess we have to start from somewhere. So that's why I envision that it's a portfolio or combination of foreign currency with Bitcoin, maybe, right? Yeah. But again, of course, I think one thing is pretty sure that the importance of renminbi is going to be strengthened over time. So the later the launch of the regional digital currency, the contribution or the importance of the renminbi will be stronger. That's I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
This part I'm pretty sure.
Thank you.
I guess another question would be: will US dollar want to be joining this RDC? That's a big question. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe don't know. That's the question. The regulators, the global regulators,
they need
to be going to figure it out, right? Maybe
they need to install CPTPP first before.
Yes. US need to join the RCEP first, then join this regional digital currency framework. So
right.
That's a big question. Yeah.
I would like to ask all panelists the final question about the maybe more collaboration with the SEA and maybe digital RCEP. So what is your biggest hope and also the $1 million suggestions for China's government and also to the SEA or maybe to Singapore government if we want to achieve a digital RCEP and also a more mutualized and maybe more integrated of the RCEP in Asian area in terms of the technology, in terms of the data, in terms of the ecosystem of the innovation and the financial markets. So what is your biggest hope and what is your biggest suggestions for the future? Maybe if you look at the 2030 or even 2035 for this region.
So if you envision 2030 or 2035, that's a really long time. The world changed so fast, right? The Chang'e just landed in moon, get the test sample of the soil and coming back, right? Elon Musk is trying to send people to the Mars. So that's why, hey, after this year of pandemic, we get used to digital. We get used to just distance, doing a lot of things, right? And that's why I would definitely think the whole financial sector need to catch up, going digital, going AI, going global. So just think about it. We need to build the whole ecosystem, the fintech or financial service paradigm into the Mars, into the moon, right? If you can do that in the Mars, in the moons, that's the way to go. So that's why personally, I would definitely hope the digital currency, the RC, the Chinese DCEP or a regional digital currency would be test launched locally or regionally faster than the market is ready. I think we need to, so innovation need to be ahead of the curve compared to all the mindset. I guess the biggest constraint really is people's mindset, the paradigm, right? So think about it. The thing need to be done in Mars, need to be done cross-border, right? Globally, right? Either the central bank driven, or the VC driven, or the regional partnership. We just need to make it happen. So I definitely think it will happen before 2035, maybe 2030. Yeah, that's just my hope. Yeah.
Thank you.
Certainly, David is a very optimistic person, and that's without that, he cannot be a good founder of such a great company, right? So I just want to add some points is, I mean, especially on the financial technology, fintech, I think it's an area that a lot of people try to innovate, but also failed. So I think the important thing is, since finance is such a big pillar of most of the companies' sort of economic foundation. So how to properly communicate with the regulator, with the central government, central banks, and not to abruptly interrupt their current sort of currency or trading mechanism. I think that would be hugely important. So how to enable the startups' aspiration on no matter digital currency, digital payment, blockchain, onto applying or secure more or sort of develop into helping the current financial system. I think that certainly would garner the sort of more near-term success for those startup companies that has the fintech expertise. East West Bank, certainly we are, although we are not that famous in the digital payment or fintech area, but we are doing the cross-banking solutions and products between US and Greater China, plus some selected ASEAN markets. So we feel strongly that we certainly can offer sort of innovative products that can connect people and also companies in these regions via our commercial and venture banking offers. So we would like to be part of this innovative fintech ecosystems, and by playing a different part of the roles. Let's put it that way.
Thank you. Zhou Zong.
For me, I think it's just a one point that trying to open-minded for everybody, because now the world, the decoupling everything kind of like the world was flat. Now it's isolated. We don't want it to be isolated. We want to be more flat. So at least in this region, I think people should make things more smooth to benefit each other, right?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that we have a very good presentation this morning, and also a very good debate and discussion upon the technology and also the innovation, also ecosystem and everything here. So I'm looking forward to a very good future down the road in next 10 or 15 years. Thank you very much.
Well, so much to learn from China. Certainly, Southeast Asia stands to benefit from more bilateral ties across the startup ecosystems. Many thanks to Yanqing and her panel of distinguished speakers for sharing their key takeaways.